Louise from the fabric shop, Ruston, Louisiana. I have a new project for you today. It's not new to a lot of you, but it's a fun project that I want to make sure you know how to do. Watch this. This is a Susie B. Lou the U. It's a lamb, but look at it. It's chenilled. Chenilling is so much fun. This is what the panel looks like. And then we took 3 more panels and we chenilled it. Same concept. I'm going to put this one back here. Same concept. Look at the one behind me. You are magic. Totally magic with the rainbow. This just looks like a perfect little girl's chenille quilt. This one I chenilled it. Let me show you the back of it. You see the back of it. It's the same panel. I've got it upside down so you really can't see it. But it's not chenilled, but this side is chenilled. And after I made it, I thought, that's much too narrow. So I rag quilted, put a border on each side. This quilt over here, if I may show you, this is just 4 different fabrics that kind of look pretty good together. And then I have a pretty panel on the back. We like for the back to be as pretty as the front. So we make a pretty panel on the back side. Now I'd like to take a minute and show you how to do this. To show you how to line up your panels and to do a chenille quilt using panels. I'm going to start with this Baron the Bear from Susie B. What you'll need is 4 Baron the Bear panels, and then you have to line them up exactly. You don't want this nose to be right here on the top panel and be over a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch on the very bottom panel, or they won't line up correctly. Notice the one behind me, the unicorns. The unicorn horn, if it was not lined up correctly, I would not be able to tell that this was a unicorn or that that was a star, or you are totally magic and the pretty rainbow. So we've got to line them up. So how do we do that? Now watch me and I'll show you. These are my favorite pens. They're called magic pens. That's actually the name of them, magic pens. They're long, they're super sharp, they will not melt in the with the iron, and they work perfect. Second thing I really like is my Clover magnetic pen cushion. My Clover magnetic pen cushion has polarized magnets. So when I go to pick up my pens, let me just show you. With a whole bunch of pens, when I go to pick up my pens, notice they're laying flat. If I have a whole handful of pens and I'm picking up pens, you don't have pens sticking up at all angles. The older plain round magnetic pen cushion, when you picked up the pens, the head of the pen would be against the magnet, the pen would be sticking up in the air. You'd grab a pen and you'd get stuck. You're going to end up with a blood spot on what you're working on. With this Clover pen cushion, I can pick up my pens. They're flat. If I want to store them, I have a lid that I can store them. When I'm not storing them, I put my lid on the bottom just like that. And then I have my blue magic pens that I'm going to use right now. I'm going to pull those out. Pull this over here out of my way. All right, so what you've got to do is open up your panel, pick a place. For example, let's take this little bee. I'm going to put a pen right in where the wings come together. I choose any point, just choose a point. Stick your pen straight in. Go down to the next one, stick your pen in that same point. Go to the next one, stick your pen in that same point. And you do that on all 4 of your panels. Make sure your pen is straight up and down. Then pick another point on this bee. I'm going to pick where the body comes into a curve right there. I will stick a needle, stick my pen, reach up and see that I've got the same one, and at the bottom I've got to do the same, and I want that to be standing up straight. Now what happened just now is my pen came out over here, so I'm going to do this one again. Straight in, straight in, straight in, straight in. Now notice my 2 pens are standing up straight. At this point I'll get a safety pin, or I could just take a pen, but I like to do safety pins, that way it doesn't stick me. I can move that pin out of the way now. I know that that little bee is lined up correctly. Then I'll go pick another point and I'll do the same thing. And I will do this and I will pin this bear all around. After I have pinned him together, and I know he's good and together, I'll take him over to my sewing machine. I will find the diagonal, and at this point I want to switch over to the other one, my other panel that I have more done on to show you. So I've pinned it. Now I'm going to, let's flip over. I found my diagonal. You do that by a perfect 90 degree, your length and your width, do a 90 degree, just like this. This is the diagonal. So I fold it and mark it. Then I mark just one place. Now I go to my sewing machine. Let's see if you can, where did I go? Here we go. Go to my sewing machine and I will stitch. This is my diagonal, so I'm going to stitch this row right along here. Put your quilting guide on your machine, on your presser foot. Decide how close you want these stitches to be. The closer that they are, the more chenille you've got. This one, you see, is further apart. This one was stitched probably ever 3/4 of an inch apart. This one was stitched maybe a 1/2 inch apart. I saw one the other day that was stitched about 3/8 inch apart, and it was absolutely beautiful. So you're going to stitch, and if you can look real close, you may not be able to see, maybe you can see the indentions. This was stitched all the way about a 1/2 inch apart. Now if you get off a 1/2 to a 3/4, nobody will ever notice it. Nobody will ever see it. So after I've done that, I've got it stitched. Back here you can see, let's hold it up. You can see it's fully stitched all the way. Now then, I'm going to take my trusty slash cutter. This is a slash cutter. Now notice this slash cutter has a round blade, and we're so used to those roller cutters that we think that blade is rolling, but it is not. It is just a sharp blade. So when I cut a bunch and I get it dull, then I will loosen this and move it over a couple of notches, and I have a brand new sharp blade. So don't think that you need a new blade. You just need to adjust it and turn it. All right, so the next thing I do is I take my scissors and I'm going to be slashing the top 3 layers all the way. Well, I don't want to cut that bottom layer. I want to just cut the top 3. So I'll take my scissors and I will clip. I will lift up and I'll clip. You see how I've clipped with my scissors just the top 3, so that I know where to put my slash cutter. So I can insert my slash cutter, and I'm only cutting the top 3. You put your slash cutter, this long part, under your seam, like so, and you jump. Now that's the fun part. And like I said, it doesn't work right if you don't make the noise. You have to go. And this is where you release your stress. You just sit here. This is so much fun. You just put it under and go, and hey, you know, if you get real close on this side and real far on that side, once you wash it and it chenilles up, nobody will ever see that. So you don't have to worry about being right in the middle. My college students can do this, and they stay right in the center, and they go slow, and they get it right in the center, and it's just perfect. If you want to do that, more power to you. Those of us who are been there a while, we just cut it, okay? And you will do that all the way. When you've got it all the way slashed, all the way to the bottom, the next thing is to trim it evenly around the edge, and then decide. Well, first of all, I think this one is too narrow. I want it to be wider. So I will take coordinating flannels. This is a flannel, Hello Baby flannel. I'll take the coordinating flannel, and I will add a piece to each side. Then I will take my rag snips, my heritage rag snips, which I dearly love. They keep you from cutting things too deep. And I will rag it. You see how that's ragged? This is a narrow one. I actually put 2 strips. And what you do is you'll take 2 pieces of fabric, one upside down at the back, one right side up, and then I put a piece of quilt batting in the center. And then I stitched a pretty serpentine stitch down the middle, and I actually stitched another row of stitching just to hold it down, and I sewed them wrong sides together, about a 1/2 to 3/4 inch seam, sew it on, and then take your rag snips and snip every 1/4 of an inch. And you'll snip it, you'll sew this one on, snip it, and then stitch like 3/4 of an inch around the outside edge. Take your rag snips, clip those about every 1/4 of an inch, and you've got a row of stitching, you know, right along here, so you stop, you don't go through the stitching. If you go through the stitching, it's no big deal. You just go to your sewing machine and sew it back up. Stitch it. Now, then I decided I needed a border at the top, so I added this border at the top, but I wanted it wider, so we added this one. You can add a pretty blue to it, and then the Hello Bob Baby extra coordinates to it. Then, with the rag snip, you are finished. Take it home, throw it in the washing machine, wash it, pull it to the dryer, and it will be beautiful. The more it's washed, the more it will chenille, and the prettier it will be. Now, if you have one like this that is the right size, it's a good size for a baby quilt, perfect size, you don't need to make it any bigger, then all you need to do is trim the edge, bind it just like you do any quilt, take it home, throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it's ready to give. It's a perfect baby gift, ready to give. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you're ready to make one, give me a call here at the Fabric Shop in Ruston. We have our panels. We've got about 120 different panels in this store, and it takes 4 panels to line up a panel, or I can put you together a kit with 5 beautiful fabrics that coordinate well. If you have any questions, give me a call here at the Fabric Shop in Ruston. Thanks for watching.